I don't know what the answer is, but
The answer is this. I got shit out because I don't pay.
they come from New Bedford, they come from the Fall River, and they're
Okay. Being 7 o'clock, as town clerk, I'm calling this meeting of the town council to order. It is December 3rd, 2020. And this evening, we are welcoming a new council after the election results have been certified from the November 3rd meeting. I would like to acknowledge, we have a new council member, Anya Wallach. Larry Anderson has chosen not to run for election again, so he is no longer with us. We also have a successful school committee members, Hannah Oyette and Michael Rocha. And then for town clerk, myself, town moderator, Scott Morrison, and then the incumbents for the council, Paul Golembeski, Gary Mataronis, Andrew Wilder Moore, Robert Mushin. Complement the remaining members of the town council. I would like to call for nominations for town council president.
I'd like to nominate Robert Mush for town council president.
I'll second.
Okay, are any further nominations? By roll call then, I will ask for a vote for Robert Mushin to be your town council president. Paul Golembeski,
Aye.
Gary Mataronis,
Aye.
Andrew Moore,
Aye.
Robert Mushin. And you're on, Bob.
You got yourself muted, Bob.
Unsuitable at any expense. Aye.
And then Anya Wallach.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous then. Bob, I will turn the meeting over to you as the council president.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I would, as our next item of business, call for a motion for appointment of the vice president of the council.
I'd like to move Gary Mataronis for vice president.
I'll second that.
The motion is made by Councilor Golembeski, seconded by Andrew Moore. Is there any discussion? We'll call for a roll call vote. Councilor Golembeski,
Aye.
Councilor Mataronis,
Aye.
Councilor Moore,
Aye.
Councilor Wallach,
Aye.
Mushin, aye. Thank you, and congratulations to the vice president.
Thank you all.
If I might just also add my, by way of announcements and acknowledgement, the welcome to Anya Rader Wallach. We are pleased that you're with us. We're pleased that you were successful in your bid, and we look forward to working with you. I think we are going to benefit greatly from the addition of Anya to the team. I'd also like to thank Larry Anderson. He is, as the clerk has said, he did not seek re-election. However, we tricked him into remaining on board to continue to run the MRP. Actually, he agreed to do that. And I'm very grateful for that because that rather substantial grant opportunity will require some efforts for which he is well suited. So to Larry, who I don't know is yet with us, but
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for a job exceptionally well done. It has been our pleasure to have the 2-year period to serve with you and look forward to your continuing, as I don't think you require any encouragement to remain involved in our politics here in Little Compton. So thank you, Larry.
I'd like to concur with Bob's assessment of both Anya and Larry Anderson. I welcome Anya, and I think Larry really helped the council out with the grants he achieved. So I wish him all the best.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, let's then move to the approval of the minutes of November 19th.
Motion to approve the November 19th, 2020 town council meeting unless anybody has any questions or comments on them.
Second.
I'll s-
Oh, sorry.
Motion is made by Counselor Mataronis, second by Counselor Moore to approve the minutes. Any discussion? A roll call vote then. Counselor Golembeski,
Aye.
Mataronis,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Wallach.
I think I should abstain because I wasn't part of the meeting
Very
officially.
well, thank you. And Mushin, aye. So there are 4 ayes and 1 abstention. Thank you. Next is the department head reports. We have reports from fire, police, and town clerk, all of whom are here. I would solicit a motion to accept and place these reports on file, and then in the discussion, if you wish, we can look for any comments that people have.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mataronis, second by Moore to accept and place these reports on file. What discussion is there? Very well. We'll call for a roll call vote. Counselor Golembeski,
Aye.
Mataronis,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Wallach,
Aye.
Mushin, aye. Thank you. The next item of business is old business, and our job here is to appoint an alternate member of the Board of Canvassers to represent the Democratic Party, term to expire November 2023. The process as laid out in our charter calls for us to solicit from the 2 parties the candidates that they would recommend for us to consider, and then the function of the president is to submit the name of such a person to the council for approval. We received no nominations from the Democratic Town Committee. However, we have received from a person who satisfies the requirements, and they are laid out in the section 202, where the president can nominate any party voter of that particular party. The person that has raised his hand is Al Chisholm, and he has sought appointment on the basis of the fact that he's a full-time Little Compton resident, a registered voter, and a Democrat. I hereby submit his name to you as my nomination of the person we should appoint.
I'll second that nomination.
I don't have I'm not able to nominate. I'm not able to vote. I need a motion, sir. I'll take that as a motion to approve my nomination.
Motion to appoint Al Chisholm as the Democrat Party to the Board of Canvassers.
Second.
Motion is made by Mataronis, second by Moore. Thanks. Is there any further discussion? We'll call for a roll call vote. Counselor Golembeski,
Aye.
Mataronis,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Wallach,
Aye.
Mushin, aye. Thank you. The next item is an update on the status of the Municipal Resiliency Program, and we'll ask former Councilor Anderson, team leader for that effort, to give us that update. Yes, sir.
So can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, as you know, my connection can be sketchy, so I'll plow ahead until I hear otherwise. First of all, congratulations to you all. Thank you for all your efforts, and good luck going forward on the council. Just to report on the status of the Municipal Resilience Program, we had put this on as sort of a placeholder, but there is some news to report. We received our group, Council President Mushin, Town Administrator Tony Texera, and myself, as the core team, met on Monday. We were joined by Don Medeiros of the Beach Commission, who's done a lot of work on a couple of proposals that have arisen from the Beach Commission. We met on Monday. Yesterday, we finally received from the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank the request for responses for the grant round. that had us somewhat anxious because last year the deadline was about now for the grant application. So the good news is that we have a reprieve in terms of time. The new deadlines for this are January 15th, 2021 application deadline, which gives us some breathing room to actually refine our proposal. Once we've submitted that, they take a month. They will announce the grants February 22nd. And if we receive a grant, the project we propose has to be finished within a 2-year time frame. That is December 31, 2022. So again, we needed the time because we are still working on refining a clear project or projects that we have sufficient information to justify. And we were making some progress, but we weren't there yet. I'll mention that, and Bob and Tony may have more to add on that in a second. But I think I should forward to the council and or to Carol the information we received yesterday so that they're all seeing what we're seeing. I should have sent that along, but that is the request for responses, the application form, and the budget document that we'll have to submit. I'll remind you that a condition of this grant is that the town has to match 25% of the total grant. Up to 50% of that 25% match can be in kind, but we will have to come up with some kind of cash contribution. And I note in the criteria and one of the several reasons why we'll have to come back to the council when we have a proposal is that part of the application calls for some evidence that the cash contribution is either approved or appropriated. Again, I think there's some flexibility there, but it will require at least the council's support for a commitment to some way of matching the grant. So those are some of the timelines and requirements that we will face. I think the other thing that I should mention, and Bob and Tony can pipe in, I think at the last time we presented this, we had described that after conversations with Sean O'Rourke of the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank, we had narrowed our potential proposals to two sort of categories. One is road stormwater management issues that had been identified in general and to some degree in terms of specific locations in town, different roads. We had discussed, I'm going to have to remember them now, north end of John Dyer Road, Town Way, John Sisson Road. At the last meeting, recommendations were made by Gary and Paul about, I think, Swamp Road and Secana Point Road. Those were potential candidates. I think that it came up that perhaps we should try to get some guidance and support from the ongoing report we've been expecting from the Beta Group, the engineering group on the roads. In thinking about this, we hadn't specified this as a part of the job, I don't think, for them early on. So these two things have been proceeding in parallel, but we hope that there might be some guidance from their work that might help us narrow down the locations and need and feasibility of such a job. So I'll let Bob and Tony come back to that in a minute. The other category of jobs were two proposals that had been recommended or developed by the Beach Commission. One was a restoration or stabilization of the bluff that's eroding at Town Landing. Don Medeiros had done quite a bit of work on that. That is in flux as we speak in more ways than one. Similarly, they had a project in progress to do some stabilization, renovation, and actual raising of the South Shore parking lot at the entrance area, the first 100 yards or so of the beach area. We had debated the pros and cons in our meeting with Don the other day. Within 24 hours, we had a storm that suggested the resilience challenge we have at both sites. So that's where we stand with regard to the potential projects. There's work going on both of those, but we still have work to do to bring those into focus. So I don't know if Bob or Tony have further comments on where we stand.
Might you speak to the beta group's contribution to how we would choose and prioritize the stormwater issues if we were to do that?
Yes, that would be helpful if you think now's the time to do it.
We just met with them this afternoon. We didn't talk this specific issue. However, we talked about what they needed to do to give us more definition to their prioritization of tasks. And we would involve them. It looks like we would need to do so smartly here in order to get that contribution to be part of our proposal. Is that how you see it, Tony?
That is correct. However, I did have a chance to speak with Kevin, who's one of the senior engineers afterwards, and he did say he would come back with some additional information regarding drainage in the culverts.
Okay. So we would need to get that were we to submit that, and it seems to me we are at least tentatively at the decision point of saying we might submit both a seawater erosion project as well as a stormwater overrun project, and compete on both fronts. At least prepare that and then see what we think in final review.
This is Larry again. I'll just also add that the request for responses explains to us that applicants may request up to $300,000 in funding, and our awards are expected to range from $50,000 to $250,000. We're competing with some other communities, but we have been encouraged by Sean O'Rourke to make these proposals, that not to restrict ourselves to one project if we have more than one good one to propose. So that's the scale of this effort.
Larry, what is the grant amount? Is there any grant amount at this time that you're proposing to put forward?
Well, it's going to be within that range. I think if we have good projects, we'll ask for as much as we can justify. But it won't be $1 million. It'll be we'll be requesting up to $300,000. So until we know, Gary, we're still, for instance, the town landing project. Don had come up with a project that, based on the experience of other towns, that was fit the nature-based criteria. It was based on natural materials and so forth. We thought that might be a fairly modest project. However, when he got a contractor down there who has done this job at other locations, the first thing he noted was, this is not like the other locations. So they've done this work. This was a totally exposed to the ocean, the full stretch of the Atlantic Ocean, the kind of erosion, and that it would require a much more robust and therefore much more expensive program, and might also require more extensive CRMC permitting, which might not make it feasible to proceed with that. But so that the scale of that, which was on the order of $500,000, sort of was sobering to hear. It made it hard to see how I'm speaking for myself now, this hasn't been decided, but it made it harder to see how we could fit into the criteria of this particular grant for those reasons. So these are going to be modest projects. They'll be low six-figure projects, Gary, I would say, depending on how much the town wants to put in. I mean, if we want to pay for a bigger project, knowing that we have to pay a bigger share of it, we can choose to do that. But there's going to be a cap on these grants. It's going to be no more than $250,000.
And I assume for our 25% share, we'd have to go to financial town meeting.
Well, what we've discussed are the following, and these would be choices we'd have to make. We have existing capital fund, which might be a possibility. with regard to the beach commission, we're not making a decision for them. They have some funds that are dedicated to maintenance in their accounts. Part of this can be in kind. That is, our town maintenance personnel, our equipment and time may be part of our contribution. And again, or we may have to go to town meeting. But if in that case, we would be telling the town, say that, you know, if the town could put in a quarter of the project's costs, we can get a grant for 3/4 of the cost. So that would be our justification for going to town meeting. So I think there are a number of alternatives, Gary. It may not just be going to a financial town meeting. There may be a number of alternatives depending on the kind of project it is.
Okay, thank you, Larry.
The other reality is the stormwater project is scalable in the sense that we could price out, let's say, 3 or 4 such pieces to it, then decide that only pieces 1, 2, and 4, if we merge them and made a package, we could work that, and we could discard number 3 and save it for later, if you will. So it's scalable. On the other hand, the one that addresses either South Shore Beach or Town Landing erosion is sort of a one-shot thing. In other words, it might not be scalable and it might be too expensive. So we think the Town Landing, for example, is in that latter category. The other thing is the CRMC involvement. I had occasion to speak with a solicitor on other matters, and you raised the question that you had heard from CRMC regarding the need for us to opine in some fashion regarding any projects that we're looking to do at South Shore. Is that accurate? We're seeing you, but not hearing you.
Yeah, you may be on mute still, or your microphone not working.
We can see you.
Oh,
Can you hear me now? All right.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. So yes, we are in contact with CRMC from time to time on different projects, and we've had a pretty good relationship with them. I know that they have an ongoing matters with the Beach Commission that we hope that we can be of assistance with. But I found them to be pretty easy to work with. Don Gomez, lends a little Compton flavor to the commission, and it's pretty nice to work with them. So we're available. My office is available at all times. We like working with David Reese, their chief engineer, who's really become much more than that over the years. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm thinking we would exploit our past relationship to say, if that were necessary, to answer any questions they might have with respect, particularly to South Shore and that improvement project. Okay.
Bob, could I ask that all the paperwork that goes along with this gets to the solicitor also?
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
And that would be handy. We have some other things coming up that it would be nice to bring it all up together.
Yeah. Good. Thank you. Any other questions for Larry?
I had a question. Larry, can you just clarify what's the limit on the amount of in-kind contribution that the town could give of that 25% that we'd have to put up?
Let me just read from the request for proposals. Applicants, that is the town, must provide at least 25% of the grant award amount. That is not the potential project amount. It's what the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank. The 25% match may be cash or in-kind contributions or a combination of two provided by the applicant, that is us, and direct project partners. It says in-kind contributions may not exceed 50% of the required match. So we can provide in-kind up to, I guess, 12.5 contribution for half of the 25, 12.5
Right.
percent of the
Got it.
of the project grant.
Thanks.
So that's that. I'll send you this. I'll make sure that this material gets sent around to all of the recipients of the request. So that I'll make sure I forward that. I guess I'll forward it to Carol to make sure that
And
she
we'll
said,
get it,
and
we'll get it to all counselors as well as the solicitor and anyone else that needs to be able to be involved from the outset. Okay.
so the final thing I'll report is that Tony, Bob, and I, and others we need to meet with them, will be meeting regularly and trying to refine this, and we'll be back to you with proposals for specific projects and
Right.
some kind of approval for you as headline. So I'm relieved on that.
Yeah.
That
We basically have two more council meetings, the second one in December and the first one in January, in which to deliberate any of this, and we need to make a decision promptly. So it will require some rapid work. Thank you. All right.
I just have one more comment. There are 5 to 6 more weeks to submit the proposal, and you can submit as many proposals as you want. Is that what you're saying? You could submit a proposal for a town landing and one for the culvert work?
Right. That was the direction we were proceeding without really any knowledge of when the timetable was going to, well, we had knowledge, but we didn't have anything on paper. And so that was our plan and still is, I think, as a team. We think that we'd like to develop both of those. However, it may prove that we don't meet the now established requirement of 300,000 maximum, for instance.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because it seems like that town landing project's going to cost a lot. I mean, you guys haven't had any official like study done or engineering work done there yet.
No. The attractiveness to the infrastructure bank of that proposal, I think, is without seeing it, without them knowing anything much more about it, the idea was, hey, maybe we could do something like this through Little Compton, and then that could be applicable to other places as well. Without casting aspersions on whether we do or don't, it's starting to look like, yeah, maybe we could, but it's a big ticket item to learn a lesson, to your point, that we really don't have any sense yet of what the total size of the package is going to be.
Okay, thank you.
All right. If you're willing, let's then move next to new business. We have a number of appointments to make. The first block of them are town council members or administrator. If you're looking at the list in front of you, I'll just go down this list. In every case, there are incumbents with a couple of exceptions, and we'll identify those. And then perhaps we consider it at the end and vote. The town council member liaison to recreation committee is currently me. I would like to propose we make that the administrator. That's one of two changes. Town hall is me. Wilbur Woods is Paul Golembeski. The transfer station is the administrator. The harbor commission is Gary Mataronis. The planning board is Paul Golembeski. The conservation commission and ag trust is the other one that we need to replace, in that those were Larry. It has, in our conversation, Anya's and mine, she is willing to take those on. So I would propose that she be given those two assignments. The zoning board is Councillor Moore. The tree committee is Paul Golembeski. The housing trust is Andrew Moore. The pension committee is myself. If that summary is understood to everyone, I would entertain a motion to make the appointments to, let's say, to the incumbents, with the exception that the Recreation Committee is Texera and the Conservation Commission and Ag Trust are Wallach.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made by Golembeski, second by Mataronis. Is there discussion on that? We'll do a roll call vote. Councillor Golembeski.
Can I ask this question? Anya, you're all set with that?
Good.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, boss.
Are you?
We just kind of said we did it, and I didn't want her to feel steamrolled into it.
I thought maybe you were suggesting I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
They give a guy charge of the meeting and then he just goes on and says what he thinks we ought to do. And then somebody has to hold him accountable and say, does anybody ask her whether she wanted to do the job? Yeah. Okay. Counselor Golembeski, how do you?
Aye.
Counselor Mataronis,
Aye.
Counselor Moore,
Aye.
Counselor Wallach.
Aye.
Motion is aye. That's done. Then there are 3 town officials, each of whom is seeking reappointment, none of whom has anyone else seeking appointment. The town sergeant is Sid Wardell, the director of social services is Sue Sisson, and the appraiser of damage done by dogs is Wayne Montgomery. I would entertain a motion to reappoint each of these 3 persons to their position.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion is made by Golembeski, second by Moore to reappoint. Any discussion? Counselor Golembeski,
Aye.
Mataronis,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Wallach,
Aye.
Mushin, aye. Thank you. The next item of business is to approve posting a request for proposals for the 2021 statistical update of real property.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's made by Mataronis, second by Moore to approve that posting. Further discussion? Roll call vote. Counselor Golembeski,
Aye.
Mataronis,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Wallach,
Aye.
Mushin, aye. Thank you. The next is a request from the Girl Scouts to allow 2 small signs to be placed on Pikes Peak for a few weeks in December to announce how to join the program. Believe the
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Golembeski, second by Mataronis to approve the request. Any discussion? Counselor Golembeski, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mataronis,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Wallach,
Aye.
Mushin, aye. Thank you. Communications. I would seek the acceptance of the council of the recommendation of the town administrator, who has endorsed a request by the fire chief to accelerate the purchase of a replacement vehicle under the capital plan. The details are in your package.
Motion to accept.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Mataronis, second by Golembeski to accept this proposal. Any further discussion? Counselor Golembeski, how do you vote?
Aye.
Counselor Mataronis,
Aye.
Counselor Moore,
Aye.
Counselor Wallach,
Aye.
Mushin, aye. The next item of business is the consent calendar.
Motion place the consent calendar on file unless anybody wants to pull anything for discussion.
I'll second that.
Motion is made by Mataronis, second by Golembeski. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote. Counselor Golembeski,
Aye.
Counselor Mataronis,
Aye.
Counselor Moore,
Aye.
Counselor Wallach,
Aye.
Mushin, aye. Finally, the payment of bills.
Motion to pay the bills?
Second.
Motion is made by Golembeski, second by Mataronis to pay the bills. Are there any further discussion? Roll call vote. Counselor Golembeski,
Aye.
Counselor Mataronis,
Aye.
Counselor Moore,
Aye.
Counselor Wallach,
Aye.
Counselor Mushin, aye. There being no further business before us, I declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Good night.
Not all.
Good night.
Bye.
Take care.
Good
everyone.
night.